Hi, everybody. Welcome to the premiere episode of Run It Back with Suli and the Boss. Obviously, I'm the boss. There's Suli McCullough, very funny actor, comedian, basketball guru, as we call him.
Crazy Legs from Don't Be a Menace. You got to let people know that. Yeah, we running it back.
We're running it back. We're excited to be here. We're going to talk NBA. We'll talk pop. We'll talk pop culture. We're going to talk everything we can. I'm excited. You're excited. Everyone's excited. This show is brought to you by Kill Cliff. It's a great energy drink. If you haven't had it yet, order it now. It's sugar-free. It's great. It's not, you don't get too wired. It's a great drink to have. I drink it all the time, and you guys should drink it too. But Suli, for the premiere episode, I know we're going to do jerseys. You got an unbelievable jersey on. What jersey do you have on tonight?
Well, because this is the premiere episode and I love basketball, I wanted to come out with a bang to just set it up and let y'all know what we're really trying to do here. So I went with, are you ready? Are you ready, everybody?
I'm ready. We're ready. What is that?
Bam! What?
Reggie Miller, 31.
Miller, Indiana Pacers. You know what they call this? They call this the Flojo jersey. They call it the Flojo jersey because it's got the stripes. You
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, Flojo.
And Reggie and you actually have something in common. You both went to UCLA.
That's right. I am a UCLA Bruin, just like the great Reggie Miller. And I'm also wearing this jersey, not just because I'm a Bruin, but as you know, the great Stephen Wardell Curry. Don't just call him Wardell. He doesn't like that. You got to call him his whole name unless you know him. Passed Reggie Miller this weekend for number 2 on all-time three-pointers made list.
I saw that, Suli, and I was impressed. At the press conference, Reggie Miller came on with his kid in a Zoom call. They had a great conversation. And the crazy thing about that is I think Steph played in 700 games, and it took Reggie Miller 1,400 games to get that record. And Steph broke it with like almost half the games played.
Well, and that's pretty incredible.
It is incredible.
That just goes to show you how much the game has changed, because back in the day, Reggie Miller was one of the few like offense designed around him 3-point shooters. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, he totally was. I mean,
that was kind of unheard of. Like, it was a system that people thought, okay, he's a great shooter, but can it really get you a championship? And Reggie did go to a finals. So he got close. You know, it was just hard to beat Shaq and Kobe. So I think Reggie's like right there. And
he was the only NBA player that his sister could beat him one-on-one. There's no other sister that's NBA player that can do that. But Cheryl Miller was unbelievable. Even though she went to USC, she was better than Reggie. Reggie admits it. It's not like I'm making this up.
Yeah. I mean, isn't her like what is her record for most points in a game? Something like 100 and something. Like, it's beyond Wilt's, right?
She in high school, she actually had like 100 points. Lisa Leslie had 100 points.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, you're 100% right.
I saw Cheryl Miller at an ATM once, and I was like, yo, she looks like she could cook fools right now. Okay.
No, she's great, and she's a great hunter. But you know, and I think next year, I think by the end of the season, we'll see Steph Curry pass Ray Allen to be the all-time leading three-pointer.
Steph still has to make 400 and something threes to catch the great Ray Allen. I love Jesus Shuttlesworth. I think we have to just stop a minute and, first of all, give props to all three of those guys, because that is a hell of a list. I mean, you've got Ray Allen number 1, Steph Curry number 2, and Reggie Miller number 3. I would take those 3 dudes in a pickup game all day, every day. Okay?
I agree with you. So let's talk about the hottest player, I think, right now in the NBA in the past 3 games is Damian Lillard. We call him.
Okay.
He's been in the past 3 games, he's been over 35 points in the past 3 games. And over the weekend, his wife gave birth to twins.
What?
So gave birth to twins. And he went out there and he scored 38 points, and he still lays it up. CJ Kellum, his counterpart CJ's not there right now, so he has a lot of weight he has to carry.
So he's got to pick up the slack.
Yeah,
I think that, first of all, that's incredible that he was able to do that. Hats off to Dame. I love Dame. He's one of my favorite point guards in the league because he will give you that work. Okay, he'll put them numbers on you. And having a twins over the weekend, Dame time is going to need nap time. Okay. Let's just keep it real. Like, you can do that once on just adrenaline, but eventually those twins are going to catch up with you.
And he's also a great musician. He can rap. He's not a faker like Shaq.
He's nice with the bars. He's not
like Shaq. He's not fake. He's real.
Well,
Dave can rap.
I mean, come on. You're gonna hate on Shaq's rap
I
right
don't
now?
hate it.
Are we really doing that?
Did you hear some of the music he poured out back in the
My biological didn't bother? You didn't like that?
That Genie movie wasn't that great? It wasn't that good, Suli. I didn't like it.
My biological didn't bother was a classic. Come on. It's Shaq working out his issues with his fatherhood stuff.
So
like
Suli,
that was a step.
So Suli, we have a sponsor here at the show. It's
okay.
Cliff. And I want to run their commercial. I love the stuff. I drink it all the time. I actually have it right here. And it's delicious.
And what you were saying about it before, you said it was delicious. It's delicious.
I do drink it. It doesn't give you like a crazy buzz. It gives you like a little up. It's great. After you work out, I drink it all the time. And it's smooth. It's no sugar. It's a great drink. And let's run that commercial right now.
Okay. Come with it.
From Kill Cliff, the #1 clean energy drink in the mind of Joe Rogan, comes the Flamin' Joe. Sugar-free, B vitamins, electrolytes, all them good drink things. An epic spicy pineapple fusion from out of this world, straight into your drink hole. Own it. KillCliff.com.
Well, that was quite a commercial. I have to say that was unnecessarily sexy.
So Suli, we're getting a comment right now. Patrick Donovan, he's actually a football coach in Canada.
Okay.
He wants to know who is your 5 GOATs in basketball? Who are your top 5 all-time players?
Wow.
And we're gonna have these questions.
I like that.
We're gonna have these questions. So
okay,
we can't prepare for it.
My 5 GOATs. My 5 GOATs. First of all, you've already tipped off I went to UCLA. So my #1 GOAT is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And the reason for that is obviously he's won multiple times. He beat the national championship team in college as a freshman and wasn't allowed to play varsity. They changed the dunking rule because of Kareem. So he's #1.
Three national championships, just so you know.
Right,
yes.
right. But I'm saying when he first walked in the building, he
couldn't play
the national championship team.
He couldn't play. He
couldn't play. So that's why he's my #1 GOAT.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying in terms of winning. #2, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
3.
That's #2. #3, see, now you're getting into that territory. I'm going to go with Magic Johnson.
Magic Urban Johnson. Great selection from Lansing, Michigan.
Yes, that's correct.
I love Magic. I agree with that one.
Yes.
Who's 4?
Larry Bird.
Ooh, the Birdman. Unbelievable.
The hick from French Lick. I love Larry Bird. I have to give him his props. I love the fact that Larry Bird was famous and was mowing his lawn, and people would come to watch him just mow his lawn. That is winning on the highest level. And
one of my favorite commercials, Suli, was the commercial with him and Irvin Johnson when Irvin went to French Lick. It's for Nike, and they played one-on-one in like some like backyard in French Lick, Indiana.
Yes.
And Magic actually told me the story how they filmed that commercial. He actually had lunch at Larry Bird's mom's house.
Right.
The day of production.
Right.
Which was a great story. So who's number 5?
#5. See, this is tough. Can I have an honorable mention?
Okay, 1. Who's 5? Go.
Dude, okay, there's 3 people that could be in here. And I'm just going to tell you the 3 people, then I'm going to pick one. So I've got Kobe Bean Bryant.
Okay, we'll talk about him later. We'll talk about Kobe later.
LeBron James.
Okay, got it. Unbelievable.
And Julius Erving. Those are my 3 for my 5th spot. And I got to pick one. And this is going to make some people mad, but I'm going to go with LeBron James.
No one's getting mad. LeBron James, great selection.
But it's tough. Like those 2
it is tough.
Are as good as it gets. I love Dr. J. The afro was fantastic. He was Jordan before Jordan. I don't want to diss the man. I You could go either way for that fifth spot. That's why I'm saying if I can get an honorable mention, both those dudes slide into that. So those are my top 5.
That's a great top 5. I can't argue with you. My GOAT is, of course, Michael Jeffrey Jordan is number 1 for me because he changed the game.
Sure.
He reinvented it. The commercials,
Sure.
Air Jordan, just too relevant. He was an innovator. The documentary changed COVID for me.
Yes, it got us through COVID.
When I was watching horse competitions on ESPN, and all of a sudden they said, you know what, we're going to bring on Michael Jeffrey Jordan's documentary early. So I can watch it Sunday night with my friends, and I can call Suli on Sunday and say, Suli, did you know that about Michael Jordan? And you were like, no, this is unbelievable.
Yes.
And that's changed the whole COVID situation for me.
That documentary did, Ross? It gave old guys a chance to feel good about themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
I agree.
In this TikTok, Instagram, I'm an influencer world. Other than the sneakers, I think people forgot about how great Jordan was. You know what I mean? When you move in that space where, there's new stars and it's all about, what's going on, you forget what made Jordan so great. So I would watch that with my kids, and it was this weird connecting point where I felt myself walking around like, see your dad like somebody good.
And remember, you brought up TikTok, and you just reminded me, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MFSN.
Right.
If you like,
we might be old guys, but we are worth a follow.
Yeah, but you gotta subscribe to our channel. Press subscribe, ring that bell, and press like right now. When you're watching the show, press like right now.
Yes.
George Tucci, press like right now.
Yeah, please. Come on. Come
on, guys. So let's talk about Suli. An unbelievable record was broken yesterday. I want to talk to you about it. Jaylen Brown. He played 19 minutes yesterday for the Boston Celtics. He had 33 points.
Yes.
I mean, Jaylen Brown is like a well-kept secret. No one ever hears about him. I mean, this guy, I feel he's like a top 5 player in the league right now. He's tearing it up. Look at his stats. Unbelievable stats. Tell us about Jaylen Brown. He's a really smart guy, too. I think this is a guy that can run for president after he's done with the NBA. He's a very intelligent man.
I'll tell you what I like about Jaylen Brown, aside from his game, and his game is super on point right now. I like the fact that he's socially conscious. Before the bubble, they were marching, him and Malcolm Brogdon. I really like Jaylen Brown's game because he's one of those great two-way players that can do a little bit of everything. If you need him to pick up his scoring, he's got you. He can guard players. He's one of those guys that doesn't necessarily need plays run for him. But if you say, go get a bucket, Jaylen Brown is going to get you a bucket. So when you say, what can Brown do for you? We clearly see what it can do for you.
What can Brown do for your country?
Okay. All right. Make it political, Ross the boss.
you open up. So one of the guys we know, Tony Todd, just asked the question. You gave your GOAT. You know Tony. Unbelievable athlete from Santa Monica, California. He was in Black Panther. We love Tony.
Yes.
He asked me, in your GOAT, you didn't mention Jerry West or Bill Russell. What's going on with those two guys?
No
Jerry West was the face of the NBA.
It's only a top 5. Yes, I could say, okay, Jerry West should be in the mix because he drafted Kobe. Of course. He's the logo. No hate, no disrespect. Bill Russell is a social icon. Anytime you get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, you have, done something great outside of your world. Those are 2 great choices. I just went with my top 5. And I couldn't even narrow it down to a top 5.
I agree with you. I just like it. I like when Tony Todd asks a question, I'll make sure we answer it because
absolutely.
He always thinks he's right and he's never right. You and I always give him the truth, and he doesn't like to hear the truth from you and I.
Well, we gotta give him the props. The thing, like, as much as I love Bill Russell, and I do love Bill Russell, I do think that this isn't a move that plays right now in the current NBA. So as much as I love this, it's not going to work.
Agree. So Suli, you were both Clipper fans. We've won 7 in a row. We got horrible news today about Leonard and George are out for like a week because of COVID protocol. We'll hear more news probably later today or maybe tomorrow, but 7 games in a row, you know.
So what is the new what is the NBA new standard? Because they recently updated their COVID protocols. I know players can't leave their hotel. You know, it's but
when they hit contact with somebody that had COVID, they got to sit out for like it's like now I think it's 10
games,
days.
10 days.
10 days. It happened to Jimmy Butler. It happened to Tatum for the Celtics.
Right.
I mean, there's been a lot of stuff going on with Tatum, but that's going to hurt the Clippers. But these streaks, like, remember when the Bucks won 18 games in a row, and before that, Houston won 22 games in a row, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs?
Yep.
These streaks scare me. I don't love when these teams win all these games in a row. I like when they learn to lose, because I think it helps them more mentally. That the team can be. It's just I'm bringing it up to you. I just want to get your thought of it. 7 games in a row.
I don't ever want to put Clippers and lose in the same sentence.
Yeah.
I'm still a little salty about how it all went down in the bubble. I felt like we got done in by a plate of hot chicken wings. So I'm just getting to the point where I'm accepting this Clipper team for what it is. I like Tyronn Lue. I think there's an interesting chemistry there, but we are definitely going to feel the effects of your 2 best players being out. Kawhi couldn't have played any better against OKC the other night. Like, he was phenomenal.
34 points, 10 rebounds. He was unbelievable. He was lights out. Unbelievable game.
And let me tell you this, Ross. He didn't look like he was working that hard. Like,
he never does.
No,
does he?
but
does he
you know,
sweat?
sometimes, yeah. I mean, he always looks like a robot. Sure, I'll give you that. Like a robot who is set to kill. But he was on cruise control kill the other night. Like, it was just, and I will say this: Paul George is silencing the critics. Like, you know,
they paid him a big contract, Suli. Big contract.
Whatever. He's making it happen. He's plutonium P, okay?
No, I love watching Batum. I mean, their team, I like their team. I was worried when Marquez Harrell left, and you were worried too.
Yes.
But I like their combination. I like what Lou's doing.
Yes.
I'm excited for them to move forward. I'm just a little worried about George and Leonard being out together for a week, but we'll see what happens.
That's a lot of pressure on Luke Kennard. I'm sorry.
I agree.
A lot of pressure.
Suli, Gordon Hayward had the game-winning shot last night. He had 39 points. They're paying this guy 4 years, $120 million.
Yes.
The first place he wanted to go during free agency was not Charlotte.
Where was it?
Indiana, the jersey you're wearing.
Yes.
He wanted to be a Pacer. They couldn't come up with a deal.
Yes.
So he waited around. The only team they said, hey, we'll pay you $120 million, $140 million. We'll pay you for 4 years. Charlotte did. I didn't think it was a good sign. Did you? I mean, did you feel it was a great sign?
I kind of thought this guy was going to be one of those guys that had a lot of potential and never quite lived up to it. He got a big contract and mostly just disappointed. So this is one of those feel-good stories where I am glad that my instincts were off, that I was wrong about Gordon Hayward, because he is balling.
He's an all-star in my book.
Yes. I mean, he is putting up good numbers. He's showing everybody what he can do as a healthy player. And I think playing with LaMelo and that young energy mixed with the veteran vibe, it's working. So hats off, man. I really thought this guy was going into obscurity. Will I buy his jersey? I'm not sure yet. But I can't take anything away from him. He is balling.
No, he's balling. He's back in Utah again. Forget about the whole Boston for that. Boston killed his reputation, but now he's with a team where he's shooting. He's the star.
And that was the thing too. Like, when he left, I was happy for Jaylen Brown, because I'm like, cool, he had to share those minutes, and now Jaylen gets to flourish. So this is a win-win on 2 levels, because you see what it's doing for the Celtics, and then you also see what it's doing for the Hornets.
Suli, who's the hottest team in the NBA right now?
The hottest team. That's a great question.
I have the answer for you.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the Utah Jazz. They won 8 in a row now.
Wow.
The Utah Jazz.
I was going to just say, as a default, I was going to say the Lakers. I'm glad you just schooled me.
It's not the Lakers.
It's not the Lakers.
It's not. It's Utah Jazz. They won 8 in a row. They're playing great basketball. I don't know if they're, I mean, I'll say the Lakers are still the number 1 team in the West.
Yes.
It's either Utah, the Clippers is number 2. I'm not quite sure. I mean, the Mitchell's playing unbelievable right now. I mean, that guy is just shooting lights out. He's averaging like 30 points a game in the past 2 weeks. He's unbelievable.
Yes.
And then they had Jordan Clarkson, the ex-Laker. He's playing well.
Yes.
So, I mean, Utah, do you think they're for real? Do you think they're really going to compete to win the West? Do you think they have a shot?
I don't know if they have a shot to win the West. I'm going to be honest. I do like what they're doing right now. I think that team has a nice mix. They're playing with a good chemistry. Those wins are impressive wins. But I don't think they have what it takes to win the West. I just feel like you're still putting a lot of pressure on your 2 guard. Donovan Mitchell's carrying the load right now, but he is kind of an undersized guard. And I hate to say that as an undersized guard myself. I'm hurting myself.
Right.
By talking badly about Donovan Mitchell. But I do think when you match up with these bigger teams, that size that the Lakers have is really something that is a problem for most teams. And I just think matchup wise, that's a team they don't want any part of.
I like Conley. I like Joe Ingles.
I do like Mike Conley. Mike Conley was struggling for a while. He's really found his groove. He picks and chooses his spots to get his offense in. His shot is falling right now. That team, they do have promise. I like them. I will say I root for them, but I don't know if they can win the West.
So let's talk about the Greek Freak and Giannis.
Now, we got to do it.
We got to talk about the Greek Freak. He signed that.
He's
huge
the
deal with
2-time
Milwaukee.
MVP.
2 times. I love the guy. He's very humble. He's a nice guy. He has 2 other brothers that play in the NBA, which is unbelievable.
Yes.
But he did something over the weekend that I've never seen in the NBA. He actually got penalized for taking the whole 10 seconds shooting the free throw. You only get 10 seconds to shoot the free throw. He elapsed the time. They penalized him. And what the refs do now is like they'll count. Those go 7, 8, 9. They'll count to him, and that drives him. If you saw the tape, it drives him crazy that they do that because he's having a horrible shooting year in free throws. He's shooting 59%. 59%. This is your MVP, Suli.
59% for your 2-time MVP.
And he usually shoots 77%. So something's not right with this free throw shooting. So do you think it can be fixed? What's your thought on the whole situation?
That's a tough one. Like Giannis is, skill wise, like the dude's a bully. You know what I mean? Like he's just a straight up bully. If you're a big man and you like big man basketball, it doesn't get better than Giannis because he will just bowl you over. He loves that spin move. The dude has massive shoulders. He's
gained 40 pounds since he was a rookie. It's all
muscle.
Of muscle. Yeah. It's
not Greek fat. Muscle.
It's 40. He gained 40 pounds since he joined the league.
Souvlaki muscle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is real. This is real. His shoulders are like Dwight Howard shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's such an athletic specimen. He really, like, my knock on the Greek Freak, and this is just a guy that loves basketball who's going to nitpick right now. I don't think he has enough like moves. You know what I mean? Like I think he needs to befriend Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay, we can set that up. We can do that. Yep.
And learn some Hakeem the Dream post moves. Add that to Giannis's brute force, and I think that's going to be the difference. But that being said, we're still talking about a 2-time MVP, and I do like the moves that the Bucks made with bringing in Drew Holiday, who I love. I think that is really going to take them up to the next level. The free throw thing, that's all mental. You know what I mean? This might be another chance for him to reach out to a veteran. Maybe the great Rick Barry could help him out.
I don't think doing the underhand thing will work. I mean, that was great back in the 70s.
I'm not saying shoot underhand. I'm not saying take it to that, hey, no, you don't have to do that. But Rick Barry was, he shot what?
He was 90%. Mark Price is another one. He's one of the best free throw shooters ever. Mark Price, unbelievable.
Right.
Sully, it's not a happy anniversary tomorrow. No one's celebrating it. It's a very sad anniversary. And it's funny, there's certain times in your life where you know where you're at when you hear the bad news about somebody's passing. And tomorrow marks the passing of one of the iconic players in the NBA of all time. And it's Kobe Bryant. And I know you have met Kobe and you're a huge fan of his. And I just want to get your thoughts and comments of Kobe and his career right now.
Well, it's hard to believe that it's been a year since the untimely death of Kobe and everyone that was in that helicopter. I do remember where I was that day. I had actually played ball that morning, and I played with a group of guys. This was before COVID, and we hadn't played in about a month and a half, and that was our first time getting together. And some of the guys that I played with coach girls teams, and we're headed to the Mamba Center later that day. So we were all really excited to be playing and, to have that camaraderie. And I remember leaving the gym and finding out shortly thereafter. And it was just one of those things that was just, it stunned you. It was so out of left field and really in some ways set the tone for what turned into a horrific 2020. Kobe was a part of, the fabric of LA because we watched him from the very beginning. Like I went to those games back in the day when he was shooting those air balls. So to see him go from that point to winning 5 championships and becoming an icon and really scoring 81 points. I saw a lot of those 60, 70 point games. Kobe and Vanessa came to the Improv one night on a team tour night, by the way, and sat in the back and watched a show. So, Kobe's been a part of, I think, everyone's life. When he passed away, I went to the memorial at Staples Center with my son. And we left a pair of shoes in memory and as a means of saying thank you to Kobe and Gigi. You really saw the city was suffering and people really love Kobe in a way where he's like a family member. I have a great story, an upbeat story, just to, speak about Kobe's greatness. I happened to be at a Christmas party and Kobe showed up to this Christmas party. And it was the night after he hit that glass 3 over Dwayne.
I remember that very well.
Yes. It was unreal. Closed out the game with a 3-point shot. That was an unbelievable shot from the top of the key that went glass, game, Lakers win. Kobe's a hero, right? So this Christmas party, Kobe shows up with Vanessa. And, I thought, okay, this dude is coming off a game winner. He's going to be kind of cocky. He's going to be full on Mamba.
Right.
He couldn't have been any cooler, right? At one point, my son is in the game room of this party and everybody is clamoring for the video games, right? He waits his turn. He was a little guy at the time. He finally gets on the video game. Kobe comes into the room with all these kids, and this is a perfect opportunity to take a picture. My son and Kobe, he's going to have this forever. My son had waited so long to play this video game that's all he cared about. Look at this picture right here. You can't see the controller, but he's like, look at the kid right here. This kid's like, are you done yet? Kobe's posing for a picture and my son could not be interested, right? Once in a lifetime moment, Kobe was so cool and gracious. He took a second picture where I made my son pay attention. I'm like, dude, this is Kobe Bean Bryant. get off the video game and take this picture with this great player.
That's great. And look at the necklace he's wearing. That's
that diamond necklace was pretty fat. I was like, damn, I got the fake one. I don't have the real one. I got the.
No, it's a great
after
story.
that day, I got the swap meet version.
My quick story. It's not as good as yours. I remember the day he passed, and I was at home, and I was on TMZ for some reason, and they were the first ones to say he died. And
yes.
And no one else picked it up. I was like going to every news channel. I was going to CNN. I was going to MSNBC. I was going to Fox. I was going all over the place. At local stations, they were doing the morning Saturday. Nothing was going on. Finally, at 11:22, I remember the time. Channel 5 came out and said there's been an accident, and Kobe Bryant is no longer with us. Yes. And it took so long for people to confirm it because they were afraid. They didn't know it was a true story. The only one that came out with it was TMZ. Yes. And I remember I was just like, my son actually was working for the publicity company that rep Kobe Bryant. He started the week before, and he was like, he talked to Kobe the day before about something. Wow. And he was like totally crushed. And it was like, I just remember it was just the whole city.
It was a tragic day.
It was one of the worst days, I think, in LA history.
Yeah, it was almost like time had stopped. And I think as a city, we were all collectively mourning.
Yeah, I agree. But the best way we can remember him is telling these stories and enlightening people of his presence and letting people know how much he meant to you or the city and how he changed people's lives. This is how we should remember him. I'm happy we're talking about it. Another thing we're doing on our show, again, it's the premiere. So if you like it, press like right now. You better
come on. Like, why wouldn't you like this?
Exactly.
I mean, just press like just for the jersey.
There you go. Just subscribe, press like, go to our social medias, follow us there, MFSN. It's easy. It's fun. But one of the segments we're doing, Suli, is you have an unbelievable shoe collection.
Right. Not only am I a baller, I live it.
You really do.
I do live it. And because, we are showing love to the great Kobe Bean Bryant, I wanted to pull a pair of sneakers from my collection. I've got, you see all the NBA players rock Kobe's right now. You always see players wearing the Bruce Lee Kobe's. That's a hot shoe. The Grinch Kobe's. You got to have some connects. You got to have a plug to get those. But I went into my archives and I pulled out a pair of Kobe 8 Christmas editions. Let me see. And man,
look at those.
Yes, these are flames. Okay. Flames, Ross the Boss. Wear these.
What year is that?
Sully,
what year did you get those shoes?
These are 2012. They're from 2012.
So it's 8 years
old.
I
love that they're the Kobe 8s. And they're the Christmas editions. Christmas games are huge.
I go every year.
That's where all the players premiere their shoes. This is a pair that I love. They did the window pane that almost looks like a church window pane. This is one of my favorite pairs. Like, when I wear these, I'm not passing the ball, okay? I'm not passing to nobody. I'm taking my 46 shots.
You got to do the 46 shots.
Yes.
Remembrance of Kobe. I love those shoes. I can't wait for next week when you show a new pair of shoes. But so
I'm gonna if you're a sneaker fan and you love the NBA, this is clearly the show for you. Because I'm going to go deep into my archives. I've been collecting since college. I'm kind of a crazy person when it comes to sneakers. A little bit of it's an obsession. It's a
history lesson too.
So it really is a history lesson.
It really is. Because you have shoes that has a story behind it. Like the shoe today was about Kobe Bryant.
Yes. In 2012.
In 2012. I mean,
the 8s.
And I actually have a pair, and I still have them, and they're worth some money. I have the first year of Air Jordans came out. They're used. I mean, I wore them, but I don't throw away anything. I'm like a hoarder over here. I don't sell anything.
That's all right. On this show,
I have a first edition.
We don't shame hoarders.
I have a first edition Air Jordans, and I go on eBay just to see. I'm curious how much they're worth. People are buying these shoes for $4,000 or $5,000 used.
Yes, that's
it's unbelievable.
That's
it's
right.
It's
Ross,
great. But
if you look behind me, you see my pair of OG Air Jordans in the
Oh,
red
wow.
and black. Those are
Nice.
from 1985.
Yep.
Those are in a case because that's what they're worth now. They're case
yeah, I didn't
worthy.
see them. Yeah,
And yeah, I got a pair of OG 85s.
that's great.
So when I tell you I'm a real sneakerhead, we're
You
not
were a
playing
real
around with this
sneakerhead.
thing. And just one more time, just because I want to make some young people mad. Yeah, get your Kobe game up, okay? Rep Kobe.
Ref Kobe.
Mamba forever.
Mamba forever. So I love it. I can't wait to see the sneakers for next week. Suli, we're doing a segment now called Hot and Cold. And
I love it. I love it.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my 3 hot players, and then we'll talk about that, and you can give yours, and then we'll talk about cold players. But, a lot of players don't get any press, or you don't hear about how hot they are because they don't play for the Lakers. They don't play for the Celtics. They don't play for the Brooklyn Nets. We haven't talked about it all yet.
Right.
We'll get there hopefully.
But yeah, that's that. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are clearly worthy of a segment. But I like
agree.
where you're going with hot or not. Let's give the
Let's
hot
do hot
players.
and not. I'll go first. We talked about him earlier. I got to bring him up again. Is Damian Lillard?
Yes.
He's been on fire. I'm just going hot. I count hot as for the past 2 weeks.
Right.
Not the whole season. The past 2 weeks, Lillard's been averaging over like 38 points a game, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 or 3 steals a game. He's been on fire. I mean, He started out slow. Just remember, he started out very slow. People were very like, what's the matter with Lil? Why isn't Dame? Why isn't he hitting shots? So that's my first hot guy. My second guy, you're going to like this one because not many people know about him. But if you see his stat sheet, it's like he's been tearing it up the past 2 weeks. Clint Capella for the Atlanta Hawks.
I love that pick, Ross.
So
I
Clint
love
Capella,
that pick. That is exactly what this segment is supposed to be.
Clint's been on. He had a stat last game: 20 points, 26 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
Wow.
This guy's 10 blocks in one. That's like Will Chamberlain
what that
playing.
Is? Those are old Dwight Howard numbers when he was in Orlando.
Will Chamberlain numbers playing against Doug Flutie.
That's a little bit of this.
There you go. So Clint Capella is somebody that I think deserves to be on the hot list right now.
Yes.
I love the little spot on his head.
Yes.
Another guy that was on fire and he beat the Brooklyn Nets by himself. He had 22 points in the overtime against the Nets alone is Colin Sexton for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Preach.
Colin Sexton.
Preach, Ross the boss.
That's my list right now. Colin Sexton, I love. I mean, I'm not going to talk about LeBron. LeBron, he's awesome every night. Come on. I mean,
LeBron's LeBron. He's the king.
So Colin Sexton's, for me, how he beat the Nets, he had 22 points in the overtimes.
Yes.
The three guys that play for the Nets that's getting all the press, they had 19 points.
Right.
So, I mean, combined. So
can I add a guy?
That's why we're here.
I like all those picks. You're right on point with that. Some of the guys that we've talked about that are killing it, we discussed them earlier, the Jaylen Browns of the world. I'm going to go with a guy that didn't get his due last year, should have been an all-star.
Okay.
Has been playing without his secondary superstar, plays in the city of Washington for a team known as the Wizards, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, the real deal.
Now, you brought up the Wizards really quick. I want to tell you something about the Wizards, which I want your opinion on really quick.
Okay.
They haven't played in 7 games until Sunday. They were because of COVID, the team did not play, they did not practice, didn't do anything for like 10 days.
Yes.
All of a sudden, they have a game on Sunday. They get blown out by 20 points. Blown out. I mean, It wasn't even close. But that all being said, I mean, do you think they're going to have to make these games up? They haven't done the second half of the schedule yet.
Absolutely.
But what's your thought about, it's not really fair. Do you think it's fair? Like these teams will can't play for 10 days all of a sudden?
Well, it's like you can't punish somebody for a pandemic. You can't control that. Like COVID's going to do what it does, right? So 7 games, that's a lot of games.
Suli.
And basketball is all about rhythm. It's all about timing. It's all about getting in a flow. And if you don't have those games, it's hard to get in a flow. You've got a team where you've got two players in Westbrook and Bill that are still trying to learn each other's game.
They are, and I love Westbrook. I got to meet him a few times. He went to a Pac-12 school that you went to, UCLA.
That's right, another Bruin.
But
I love the Bruin love that we're giving on this show.
So you mentioned players that don't have their flow right now. I want to tell you my cold list real quick.
Okay.
See how you comment. The first guy on the cold list, just because I have him, I like him a lot. I mean, he's one of these players that I expect big things from, especially this year. Lonzo Ball. I mean, he is having a horrible year, 10 points a game and barely any assists and rebounds that we're accustomed to. I mean, what's wrong with Lonzo Ball?
It's tough. Lonzo, I really thought that this was the year the Pelicans were going to really figure it out and make moves. Yes, the West is competitive and difficult, but Zion is a force for the future. Brandon Ingram is incredible. I love his game. I love that he comes to work and, really goes for it. He's I have a soft spot for scorers. Okay. If you can put the ball in the hoop, I will excuse a lot of your flaws. Brandon Ingram is that dude to me. 6-man last year. He's incredible. But for some reason, Lonzo's just it's not working out. I don't know if he's tentative with his shooting. I just don't know what it is, but he's about to, he's got a brother that's making it happen.
I love LaMelo.
Get it together.
I love that kid. I love watching him play for Charlotte.
He's got to tap into that big brother energy. Maybe we got to speed dial the dad, call him 911.
No, don't get the dad involved. Please, whatever you do, don't call that. Please don't call that guy. Please, whatever you do, Suli, don't call him.
The dad isn't the answer?
No. The dad has to stay away.
Okay.
So
well, maybe that was the problem. Maybe the dad came over for, a couple of meals and got a little comfortable in New Orleans. Maybe he brought over some magic gumbo that took away his son's offensive firepower. Maybe we can put this on.
I don't know. Suli, another player that's not playing the expectations this year for me, especially the past 2 weeks, is Draymond Green.
Yes.
He's averaging like 5 points a game. He's not getting the rebounds he's accustomed to. His defense is still great, but what's the matter? I mean, Klay Thompson's not there to take that many shots either. I mean, why isn't Green getting involved?
That's the real issue. Like, we really, and we haven't really talked about this, but I think the Warriors are really missing Klay Thompson because Klay Thompson does so much. He's such an underrated player in terms of what he does for that offense. And the way that team is built right now, you can't really rely on Draymond scoring. Like, Draymond's a dude that gets his buckets off movement and action and the fact that you got to really guard those first two weapons. And without Klay Thompson, it kind of leaves Draymond in no man's land. Like, Draymond had a slow start to the season because he was out. Wiseman was getting featured touches, which I thought was good for him. I like Wiseman. I think he's playing good. I think that's a smart pick. My problem isn't there. Steph's going to do what he does, obviously. I just think Draymond really misses Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? Like, his game is really getting exposed.
No, I agree. I think Klay's a huge puzzle that's missing in Golden State. And, they need him back to compete. I really think that. I mean, even though the Lakers beat him last week, I don't think that means anything. Lakers don't try during the offseason. I don't care. During the regular season, they don't care. The Lakers look at the playoffs. It's all they just want to make the playoffs.
But the Lakers are clicking right now. Like, the Lakers, I mean, they're on cruise control. Like,
there you go. Cruise control is
they are on cruise control. Situation. And they're on cruise control in a Ferrari. Okay.
Exactly. And the last player I have, he hasn't played in like 10 games. I know I think his wife had a baby, and I don't know why he hasn't showed up to work in 10 days, but it's Al Horford for Oklahoma City.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know why. It always says personal reasons. It's not COVID. It's personal reasons. His wife had a baby, it's not their first kid. His wife's beautiful too. She was like Miss Costa Rica or something. Gorgeous. Look it up on Google.
It's a good thing she's not ugly.
No, she's a gorgeous girl model. But I mean, maybe he wants to spend more time with his wife, but it's in the middle of the NBA season. Damian Lillard had twins.
Right. Damian Lillard had twins, and that
he was
didn't
out
stop
there the
him
next
from
game
getting buckets.
And Nicholas Batum had a kid 6 hours later. He's starting for the Clippers. I mean, he didn't take any time off.
I think what we're asking is, Al Horford, what is your excuse? Seriously.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
But Al Horford was not what he was supposed to be with the Sixers. That was a mess. I think that when he sort of lost his position in Boston and lost his role, part of him took a back seat where he just hasn't come back yet. And this is a league where you got to constantly show improve. So hopefully Al Horford gets it together. Don't blame it on your kids. That's just not right.
I agree with you. So Suli, there's one question I want to bring up that one of the fans is asking. His name is Chris Robinson. He lives in Wichita, Kansas. He's actually one of the best softball players in the country. He went to Virginia Tech. Unbelievable athlete, this guy.
Nice.
He says Ross doesn't have any credibility until he starts wearing the Rambus glasses or Lambeer goggles and the knee-high socks. Chris Robinson, I'm going to do that one of these shows. Not in the next couple months. I'm going to wear the Rambus glasses with a Band-Aid in the middle of it. I'll get the Lambeer goggles. I'll get the high socks. I'll do that. I'm Ross the Boss. I love talking basketball.
Yes.
Suli, this is our premiere episode. What do you think?
I think this is great, dude. We're off to a great start. I love when people call in. You're getting wardrobe advice already. Episode
advice already from a guy that dresses with T-shirts every day, but it's fine.
Right. But he wants what he wants. He wants you to go Clark Kent.
I agree. So everybody, if you like what you saw, I'm sure you did. Press like right now. Subscribe. Follow us on social media. Suli and I, you should see our handles right now. Make sure you follow us too. I'm Ross the Boss. This is Suli McCullough.
I'm Suli McCullough. You guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you again. We're just getting started. We're going to have celebrity call-ins. We're going to take all your calls and questions. We love the game of basketball. We're on top of it. Spend some time with us.
I'm Ross the Boss. I love talking basketball with you, cowboy.
We're gonna set the internet on